Well, hello, my name is Stephen Samuel from Design Visionaries, and today I'd like to share with you a model that I've created with these law curves. It is a continuation, if you will, of a model that I did before where I made a braid, but I made it a straight braid and I used combined curve projection to do it. Well, this one is all law curves. They're law curves that are circular, but I've imposed a sinusoidal pattern on them. There's three different law curves that I have also created tubes on, and so it is a braided bracelet. So just to show you some of the fine points of this thing, I have a variable d right here, and with d I can change the diameter of the tubing and also the height of the wave that creates the braid. That's d. Let me change it back. Let me change it to something larger. So d is 0.5, and then the thing is much wider. This one is kind of complex, so it takes a while. So there you go. I think d looks best at something around zero point 0.3 if I were to make a bracelet out of this thing. I have r, the radius of the center line of the braid looking this way, so it's the center line around this way, so that's r. And then I have this variable c, which controls the tightness of these bends. So if I make it a low number, the bends get really tight and pointy. And if I make it a higher number, then it's smoother. So I think 90 is really optimized for the look and feel of this thing, but that's personal preference. And then what I've surmised is that the wave periodicity horizontally has to be um, one half of the wave periodicity this way. So you have N1 and N2. So N1 has to be half of N2. And if I mess it up, then the braid gets really messed up. Then it's not braided anymore. Here, I'll show you. This is going to take a while though, because it has to go through a lot of stuff. I think it's the unite, when I united all of this together, so it would be really cool looking, and you'd see the edges. So how about that? That's wild, isn't it? Um, so it's very, very interesting. It's amazing what you can do with law curves. So N1 has to be one half of N2. Cool. So now to show you just a little bit more about how this thing is built, if you go into the curve command and you go to the more, you have this command called law curve, and the law curve is a function of t. You have to write an equation for t. T equals 1, and then you have an xt, yt, and zt. And you figure out the equations with sines and cosines to make this happen, and you figure out three of them: xt1, yt1, zt1, xt2, yt2, zt2, xt3, and so on. And then you make three separate law curves, and each law curve is 120 degrees more than the other, or the phase is 120 degrees more than the other. If I go to the actual expressions, you can see that the expressions are not too complex, and you can take a screenshot of these and recreate it if you want, or we will make this model available on www.designviz.com. But one of the tricks to doing this easily is using this import export. And so when you're trying to use this editor, you can do it, it's fine, but it's much easier to start with a numerical value and then go into the export expressions. You click that thing, and then you give it a name like AAA, and you say okay. And then once you have that, you can go into your you can go into the Explorer here. Let's see, let's go here, and you can find that file. let's see, projects, bear with me for a second. And then you've got your circular braid. There it goes, circular braid. Okay. And then here's that expression that I just made, that list of expressions, and I can open with Notepad. Notepad is my friend. There he goes. Notepad, come on. There's the Notepad. I don't know why it came in so huge, but anyway. And so there's all the expressions. And then you can do all sorts of things. You can modify the expressions in this notepad. You can write more expressions in the notepad. And as you can see, xt1, xt2, xt3, yt1, yt2, yt3, zt1, zt2. And then you could even change it here. So for example, I will put this dimension at 0.05 and say file save. File save, okay. So this is exactly how I built this model. And then I'll simply go into import expressions, and I'll import this one and say OK, and say OK, and the model will change commensurately. So that's fun. So again, my name's Steve Samuel from Design Visionaries. I hope you enjoyed this little video. I will make this little part available so that you can play around with it and mess around with it. Please like this video on the bottom of the screen there and subscribe. I have a lot more of these to show you. There's a lot of really great techniques that make this modeling very easy, and NX is incredibly powerful, and you can use it to design almost anything. It's one of the easiest systems I use, and I certainly use the other main systems that you could imagine because we do design engineering day in and day out here at Design Visionaries, and it is always a pleasure. Thank you very much.